So in a couple of weeks now, I'm going to Madeira. Why, you might think? One, I need a holiday, and two, I've never been. Now, one thing I didn't realise about Madeira is the fact that it's fantastic for walking and hiking. I had no idea, didn't even know, given the fact that it's become so Instagrammable. I hate that word, but it's become so Instagrammable, I didn't realise that it was there. However, going there means I can do hiking, which I love, and taking photos. Now, I'll be taking my X100VI with me, and this will be a great test of it as a travel camera, but we already know it's fantastic as a travel camera. But it did get me thinking about the gear I'll be taking with me. Now, as a lot of you know on this channel, I do a hell of a lot of walking, hiking, and photography in the Peak District, as I'm only a couple of hours away. So I quite enjoy going for a walk. And for me, I think the gear that I bring along with me, and that's non-camera gear, matters so much, because if the gear keeps me dry, keeps me warm, and doesn't interfere with my photography process, and it makes me feel comfortable, it means that I'm going to stay out for longer and probably take more photos. And if I can stay out for longer and enjoy the process, I'm more likely to take more photos, better photos that I'll be more happy with. And that's what photography is all about. So in this video, we're going to be going over all the gear that I'll be taking to Madeira, but more than that, just the gear that I've collected, I've built up over the years that I take with me on hiking trips to make sure that it doesn't get in my way and it enhances my photography process. So the very first topic we're going to get out of the way is camera gear, as whilst I realise this channel is a photography channel, this video really isn't about the camera itself. As we know, I shoot with an X100VI, and if you've watched my video talking about the 50mm converter lens that I bought, I'm using that. Attached to it, I use a 1/4 mist filter because I really like what it does to the highlights, and I think it just really adds to any film simulation you look. I get a lot of comments asking me, I've tried to use your film simulation, but it doesn't quite look the same, and I say, are you using a mist filter? Because the two, to me, go hand in hand. Attached to that, to make the hand-holding process as comfortable as possible, I have a leather grip, which I've done a video on, and I have the small rig thumb grip. Those two things combined for my hand size and just how I shoot with the camera really help. And now, because I have got the 50mm adapter, holding it in two hands is far easier. Unfortunately, I do have these little rattly things attached, and that's because I use Peak Design straps. Whilst I'm a fan of their system and how they work, I do hate having these on the camera. I hate how they look, the fact that they rattle around. I just don't like them, but they're kind of a necessity, because if you want to be using their cuff or maybe their leash system, and I've got loads of other straps and various bits and bobs, you have to use these. Now, I've used rope, leather straps, but I like the versatility of being able to change. And that's camera gear. I'm not going to go over it anymore. That is all I'm going to talk about. In terms of filming this content, I'm currently shooting on the camera that I film with, and that is the DJI Pocket 3. Fantastic camera. I had the predecessor, but I now think the 3 is up to spec, where I can make videos like this and not think I need to get a heavy camera rig out with me, which is fantastic. I did go for the creator combo, which means you get microphone, mini tripod, battery. You obviously get this camera bag, which we'll move on to, because having this bag means I can throw it in whatever bag I've got and not have to worry about where my DJI is, because it does get delicate. One accessory I have bought for it is this. It's just a little plastic case that goes over it, because the way I'll show you in a minute with my bag system, I can easily take my DJI out and in of my bag without having to put it in and out of there. You can't just leave the DJI on its own, because the gimbal will come loose and might scratch, and you just don't really want that. So I use this, and I can quickly clip it off, take a video of whatever it might be, and then put it away nicely when I'm using it. And then obviously when I'm finished, I can put it back in here and continue on my merry way. But that's going to be camera gear. Not going to go on about it anymore, because that's not really the premise of this video. However, one piece of camera gear that's newly acquired that I'll be taking with me on my trip to Madeira, and I bought it because I'm going to Madeira and I'm using a hiking bag and not a camera bag, is this. So this is the Kodak Protective Blanket. And as you can see, it's a blanket. Basically, you fold it around your camera and it keeps it water resistant, obviously not waterproof because you can't fold it up that tightly, and keeps it sort of shock proof because it's puffed. It's a very nice soft blanket. Now the reason why I acquired this is because I was looking at camera inserts to go in a traditional hiking bag. However, what I didn't like the fact is when I removed the camera, I'm left with that camera insert, which is great, but it's room and it's bulk that you don't maybe really need. The great thing about this is obviously when it's not wrapped around my camera, it's super thin and I can fold it up and not know it's in my bag. I could even use it for whatever I might want to use it for, but it doesn't get in my way. So it doesn't add weight and it doesn't get in the way of me enjoying the walking experience because I've got a camera insert in my bag. So really quickly, nice new piece of gear that I've acquired to help with my photography journey. Next up, if you're someone who uses gear while you're hiking or you're a photographer, power banks, super important thing to take with you. I've had this one for a number of years. It's from Anker. It's a 20,000 milliamp hour battery, and I've taken it on every hike with me. However, I've actually never used it, which might sound crazy. Why am I taking it with me if I've never used it? Well, because I don't know when I might need it. I'm someone who charges all my gear beforehand anyway, and I find that the way I record videos and how I take photos now means that I don't really need 20,000 milliamp. And if you've got a 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank, they do weigh quite a bit. So I'm going to be reducing down to a 5,000 milliamp hour, and in just case of emergencies, whether I need to charge my phone, my camera, my smartwatch, whatever it might be, that will charge it at least once, if not twice. Reducing weight, because the less weight I've got on me, the more comfortable I'll be. And if I'm more comfortable, it means I'll stay out longer and I'll take more photos. So hopefully you're getting the premise of this video. It's all about making my life as comfortable as possible, so I'm staying out for longer, taking more photos. Probably the most crucial part of any hike or walk is two things: the shoes that you wear and the backpack that you have on your back or your front, wherever you want to put it. I'm going to run over the backpack right now. For a long time I haven't used camera bags, as I don't think for hiking they're particularly good. For city breaks, strolls in the park, I think they're fine. I've got a Brevity jumper bag that I can use for that. I've got camera slings and things like that, and they're fantastic. But for those long 25, 35 kilometer walks, they're just not built for it. And I understand that, that's perfectly fine. So for a long time, I haven't used camera bags. I've recently acquired two bags, pretty recently. One is the Montane Trailblazer 18 litre. That's more for summertime, shorter walks, and it's traditionally used for people that go trail running. So it's extremely comfortable around my body. And again, comfortable, gonna take more photos. The new bag, however, that I've acquired for Madeira is bigger and larger because I might need to take more gear with me and I'll be hiking for longer and I don't know what it will be like. So I wanted to be more prepared. And I do take quite a bit of camera gear with me. So I needed a bag that's a bit bigger for that. So with that being said, this is the bag in question. It is the Ducant Spine 28 to 35 litre. It is a roll top design bag and it's absolutely fantastic. I won't go over it too much, but it's got a adjustable spine system. I've got my Peak Design capture clip and it's a fantastic bag, and I could do a review of it on its own. But my point is that you need a bag that fits your needs and requirements. And for me, that bag fits perfectly. I can use my capture clip, so my camera is always on my shoulder, which means if I've got it out more, I'll be taking more photos. And I feel like if you're using a camera bag, a lot of the time you may put your camera away more often in your bag, and then you're like, can't be asked to take a photo of that because I've got to get it out of my bag. I know I've done that a few times. And then maybe it started raining too much. I know obviously this is waterproof, but I still want to look after it. I can put it in my bag and keep it safe using this system. So this combination I found when I'm going hiking works really well for me, and I would encourage people to think about trying it. So when you need a new backpack, maybe steer towards a hiking bag, and then what you can do to turn that into a camera bag rather than turning a camera bag into a hiking bag, because you're realistically not going to be able to do that. Now I'm very quickly going to run over some accessories that I think you should take with you on every hike, whether you're a photographer or not. One of them is a small pocket knife. This is a Opal French company, the best known for making knives for like mushroom picking and things like that. So a small pocket knife just to take with you. You don't know what you might need to cut. open, you know, maybe use it to eat your lunch, whatever it might be, you just can't go wrong. This one even has a little whistle on it. So if you got in danger, I suppose, you could be whistling your way and people could hear you. The next thing is a head torch. Now Madeira, because it's an island, it's famous for how many caves it's got and how many tunnels it's got. So I have this black diamond 400 lumen head torch. You should take a head torch if you're planning on doing any long hikes anyway, as in the event that it starts getting dark, you need to see where you're going. And it's all about safety at the end of the day. And if you're safer, again, more chance you'll take more photos. Maybe you'll do some night photography because you're like, well, I've got my head torch, I can see where I'm going, so I'll stay up till it gets dark, and you might capture some awesome photos. Not a bad idea. Recently, I did a hike to Cheadale, and they've got a few old railway tunnels. So we used this, and again, I was able to get some amazing photos. So head torch and pocket knife. And then the last thing I would say is a multi-tool. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. You've got pliers, I've got all sorts of little bits and bobs that I can get out, and you just never know when you might need these things. Next couple of things I want to talk about is dry bag and a coat. Now, I'm gonna run over the dry bag, pretty self-explanatory. You wanna keep your clothes in a dry bag. Whilst the bag I've recently purchased is fantastic, it's not waterproof really to the elements. So keeping everything in a dry bag has that security. So in here I've got gloves, hats, spare underwear, socks, neck scarf, everything I might need. I could even put t-shirt and trousers in here, and having it in a dry bag means no matter how wet my bag gets, my clothes in here will stay dry. And it's also an organizational thing. So I can ask my girlfriend, or I can get this out of my bag really quickly, and I know that all my clothes are in this particular part. They're not just in one big space within the bag, because hiking bags tend to be one big cavern. So doing this sort of can't say that word. This helps section the bag off, and I can quickly pull this out of my bag and get what I need and put it back in. So I'd highly recommend getting a dry bag. And then next up is this coat. Now, I don't know if you're meant to wrap it up like this, but I've wrapped it up within the hood of the coat. This is also from Black Diamond. And again, it's another recent purchase. This is a shell coat. Again, the idea is it's not just keeping me dry, it's keeping me warm, because coats, no matter how good they are, they will eventually get wet, and there's nothing you can do about that. So getting a decent coat with pit zippers and things like that to keep you dry inside and out, and away, sheltered against the wind, they're fantastic for that. It means you'll be warmer, happier, more comfortable, and you'll want to take more photos. So this has been a fantastic addition. I wore it the whole time when I was at Cheadale last weekend. I did not take it off because I didn't get too warm, and it was a nice day, and it was absolutely fantastic. Kept the wind off, and I was very happy with it. And I would recommend having this and this in your arsenal on every trip that you take, no matter where, especially if you live in the UK, because the weather can change even in August. Now, it goes without saying, if you're going on any hikes or any adventures, you should take some form of medical kit along with you. There's lots you can buy from places like Go Outdoors or online, like on Amazon. However, in this little brevity pouch that I've got, I've made my own. Now I've been hiking and walking for quite a long time now. I've figured out what I need and what I don't really need. So in here, I keep a few different things. I've got energy tablets, because energy tablets. I've got Vaseline, because you might get chapped lips. I've got paracetamol, blisters, Gaviscon. I've got water purification tablets, because I might run out of water and there might be some water, but I don't fancy taking my chances with it. I've got hand warmers. They do actually work, and they are fantastic. And again, if I'm warmer and more comfortable, I'm going to take more photos. I've got bandages. I've got everything that I might need to take with me. And thankfully, I haven't really had to use this yet, but for how much it weighs, it's always worth taking with me, and it will always go in a backpack no matter what it is. And I do also keep a thermal blanket and a poncho, because whilst my coat is brilliant, keeping a disposable poncho means that if it got really bad and my coat was absolutely drenched, I've got another chance to stay dry. And again, stay dry, stay warmer, more comfortable, and take more photos. This might be getting quite annoying now, but I'm Hopefully I'm getting my process across to people. Now, I spoke about the two most important things you should take with you when you're hiking. One of those being a backpack and the other one being the boots that you take with me. Now, if anyone knows, I don't know if I've spoken about it on the channel, but I actually wear barefoot shoes. These are the Vivo Active Forest ESGs. I've owned them for quite a while now, at least 3 months, and yeah, they're barefoot, so they roll up like that. You've probably never seen a pair of hiking boots do that, and I've got mud everywhere doing that. Anyway, boots are extremely important because, again, if your feet are comfortable, if your feet are warm or cool, and your feet are dry, you're gonna be comfortable, you're gonna walk for longer, you're gonna enjoy the process, and you're gonna take more photos. It's getting annoying now, isn't it? But investing in good footwear, I see too many people on the trail hiking in trainers and footwear, Converse shoes, and you can see they're uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, you're very much unlikely to go, let's stand here for 10, 20 minutes and take a photo, which when I was at Cheadle last weekend, I did, and I was really glad that I did. I watched this train just pass, just in time, and it really made the scene, and I captured a really cool shot, and I'm glad that I waited. Now, if my feet had been killing me, I'd have probably just wanted to get back to the car as quickly as possible and get the walk over with. But because I was wearing the appropriate footwear, I wasn't. Now, I don't recommend that you wear barefoot shoes, you wear whatever boots or shoes that you want, but having comfortable, proper footwear for the conditions is so important. And I would recommend it to everyone who's getting more into just hiking or walking or whatever it might be. Always wear the appropriate footwear. And the very last piece of gear I'm going to talk about is what's on my wrist right now. And you've probably seen it because of the band in a few of my videos. This is a smartwatch. And you might be thinking, well, okay, but why have you got one particularly for hiking? Well, I had an Apple Watch and it died on me halfway through the trail. And that meant I had to get out my smartphone. And what did that mean? Whilst I was navigating the trail, because my partner, bless her, doesn't navigate, I do, I was having to navigate where we were going because I'd never been there before, which meant it's quite difficult to be taking photos and navigating at the same time. And it definitely diminished my enjoyment of the hike because I had to keep getting my phone out every 5 minutes. I hate having things in my pocket, so I'm getting it out of my bag every 5 minutes to know where we're going. So that's why I bought this Suunto Race S. Has offline maps, I can put GPX files on this and I can follow it along. So I've got this on my wrist and I can be following it whilst I'm taking photos. I can do the two at the same time. It's perfect, it's simple, it's easy. I went for Suunto because the price, they're so much cheaper than Garmin. The quality is amazing and I think they actually look really fantastic. I wear this watch all the time, night and day. It's comfortable, it does what it needs to do. It lasts a week on a battery and it's fantastic. I wouldn't go without it. Hopefully you've understood the premise of this video. If you've got a camera and you take photos and you go on hikes, the more comfortable you are, the more you'll enjoy the experience of the hike, the more chance you'll be taking better photos and you'll be taking more photos because you'll be out for longer. So hopefully some of this gear that I've been talking about today, you'll be able to adapt into your own hiking gear, your own workflow, and I will report back and tell you how I got on in Madeira and if any of this gear failed me or what I would do differently next time. Because again, the most important thing you should do on a hike is evaluate what you've got beforehand, what you've got during, and then afterwards review it and go, did I use that? Did I need that? What did I not have? And what would I do differently next time? Keep doing that every time and eventually you'll get to a point like me where you've got gear that you absolutely need on every single hike and you've kind of perfected your own process. And it's really helped me take better photos and make my life more comfortable and more minimal. I'm not taking any waste with me on the trail or anything I don't think I need to take with me. So this setup does change throughout the year because there's things I don't need to take, things I then do need to take, but for the most part, this is the general stuff that you should be thinking about taking with you on your next hiking trip, whether it's the Peak District to Madeira. They must be quite far away, are they? 5,000? We'll say in the comments, who knows? I'm gonna say 5,000 kilometers right now, but I'm probably wrong. We'll see. So yeah, that's all the gear. I really hope you found this video useful. And obviously, if you've got any comments, any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And the next time you see me, I probably might be in a hotel room. we'll see if I make another video before that. So thank you everyone, and like, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.